here at the Potomac Curling Club. Sorry about that, folks. We accidentally put this event in the wrong event. So we are now actually posting in our 11th annual Cherry Blossom Bonspiel, so you should be able to see it just fine now. Bob Pelletier, vice for Potomac II.
Definitely down weight, but that might be just enough to put one of these guards into the house.
We'll do that. That's fine. Good sweep. Thank you.
Just try to draw to it, all right?
Right here.
No, it doesn't look like that.
Well, wait a minute. No. No. You want to try to draw through? Maybe. Yeah, give it a shot. Give it a shot.
Rob expressing the utmost confidence in this shot call.
I think it's there.
Brian Breen, vice for Wife Said I Could Play, throwing his first rock.
Yes! Yes! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
They're on
Shit,
it.
it came over too much.
That is going to tap the guard, but it's going to tap it out. It's not going to tap it onto the red, so that is going to be a decent promote.
That'll work.
That's going to be
That'll work.
second shot, and it did roll over and guard the center. It's not a terrible result. Not what they were looking for, but
Yeah, that's good.
Well, it did manage to put another rock in the house, and it is in the top of the house, so it's not a bad rock. The rock's a little open. Potomac II can hit and roll off of it.
Sweep!
exactly. It's like I said, it wasn't what they called. It wasn't what they were hoping for, but it's certainly, you know, more rocks in the house is never a terrible result. But there's that hit and roll you were just talking about, and that is going to
Nice
roll
shot, Bob.
well
Thank
under
you.
the
Good
cover.
swing, guys.
Nice shot, Bob.
Two shot. That is. There. That rock's not coming out of there anytime soon.
Yeah, this is exactly the danger with leaving a rock open in the top of the house when there's a bunch of stuff in front. I mean, there's just...
Looks like Rob,
Well,
he's going to call the angle raise takeout here. That's
I was about to say there's no shot at it, but there is a shot at it.
There is a shot. That's
It's tough.
his rock is pretty
I
open,
think that's good.
and especially open on the side that he needs to hit it on here. So if you don't hit this, then you really mucked it up for yourself there. But
Well, if you hit your own rock and miss, then you just open a hole up and
outside.
Potomac II will plug it up. But if
this
you
is
just...
outside. It's going to crash on the red, and it's going to tap that red back,
That was not what we wanted.
and tap shot rock doesn't move it and puts a second one in.
Rob, that was definitely
Not
not
the
what you
one up
wanted.
here.
And then turned it shitty.
Block off the draw.
Maybe we shouldn't have
It's not
played that
curling
draw.
the whole line. It's not curling
Maybe
the
we
whole
should have
line.
guarded.
So just right here. I think it's still, I think it's pretty up to
No, the
speed,
first
right?
one?
So as we look at the overhead cam,
Yeah.
you can see
Yeah.
indeed that Potomac II, the red rocks, are sitting
second-
first
yeah.
and second shot with
And then
Wife
we
Said I
had
Could
the
Play,
hit and roll,
sitting
which
third shot in the
I don't
back of the
know.
12
Yeah,
foot.
yeah. Right, we left it out there, yeah.
Okay, so we're sitting two, just top 12. Block off the draw a bit.
All right, we got to cut him down.
I don't think he can get to the outside.
No.
Not deep, because I don't want him to be able to hit in and roll in off of
I
it. So
imagine
even
she's
if
putting-
it's
she's
out,
guarding.
fine.
And you hear Don
Just, you know, fighting.
worrying about the same
Full
thing
12
that
at
they
most.
just
I mean, it'll move
caught
when
the
it
yellow
slows
team doing.
down.
Is it pretty well up to
Accidentally
speed
leaving a
now?
rock in the house too deep for to allow a hit and roll. So she is playing this to be very high, possibly even guard.
The one thing Dawn does not want to do, as you said, Mike, is leave this rock open and in between the
It's
tee
deep,
line
take
and all
it
of her
way
guards.
back.
Oh, she's
Yeah, it's heavy.
too heavy for a guard, so they're going to try to sweep it as far back as they can.
Oh, that rock's got ton of weight.
It just might get back. Oh, no, that's way. And it's over the back line.
It is
Oh, we
good.
just
Okay.
You know, it's
No
really
harm,
not
no
that bad.
foul. Yeah.
No, exactly. She didn't get what she wanted, but she didn't mess anything up either.
Exactly.
All right, so I
And
know what
Rob
to do
still
now.
has this
We don't want to
angle,
chip this.
angle run
I
back,
don't think you can
Yeah.
get to that one. Lift this one.
which would be
Yeah.
spectacular if he gets it.
Yeah.
It'll knock his
Yeah,
one
we
in there
just
to
want to come up
shot
here
under the
because
cover,
it doesn't do any good.
set him up for his second rock.
Did you? I don't like this.
Yeah, we turned a good end pretty sour, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, no, I want to, but it should be straight.
That must have been
We
fun.
want to nose it so we can drive it straight back.
You can hear
If
Rob
we get-
talking that they are
Travis,
looking
if we get
to
your side of
almost
it,
nose.
going to
That
the
means
other one.
hit right in the center, the yellow rock that is a guard.
It's off. Looks maybe a little down weight for this
Yeah, it's too
kind of a
light.
shot. Yeah, and even Rob expressing the same displeasure.
Well, but if he's gets the
But
line
if he
right,
gets the line, he's got it.
Sweep it, Bob.
Oh, he sweeps it. Oh, it's right between the two red rocks.
well, it helps.
It did move the second one out.
good?
He might be sitting second shot.
Second shot.
That's really too close for us to call. I agree. He might be sitting second
about
shot
that?
now, which would be a vast
Not
improvement
curling a whole lot. I think
from
that's
giving up
good.
2. But,
And if I'm light and I stop here,
you
that's
know, Rob
okay.
has the hammer. He
Yeah,
really,
exposed.
his goal was to get to this end, not
It
give up
was.
1 or 2.
Right. But with the side open, he still has most of the forefoot he can draw to. He can cut them down to
So-
1 or possibly draw to the button and take 1.
We're still 1-2, so I'd kind of like to bury it around
just hit
now
it, but then
in
one.
full 8. And if I'm light and we stop out
He
front,
was
that's
going to try
okay
to leave
too.
it high, I imagine.
So that last one was back line. I'll take some off of it. Let you guys sweep, but we gotta wait
Yeah,
till
I
it
mean, we
starts
have
to
the
curl
draw, but I
before you
bet I
sweep
put
it,
it
okay?
in 1.
Okay. You got it.
Dawn Findlay with her final
Line's
rock for this
good.
end.
Wait only. Line's good. Whoa, 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 whoa.
You're ready to sweep it out. That looks hot.
Rob, the opposing skip, thinks it's a little heavy. We'll see where this rock winds up.
It's less weight than the previous one, but still just too much to be much help. It is going to be second
well, if
shot
I
now.
hit this, if I hit this, we
And
don't
she
give up
didn't
a
leave a
point.
hit and roll opportunity.
Sorry, guys.
No, she didn't. Rob can come down to this and hit that rock. It is open, but he wouldn't be shot Rob.
No, because
He
if
would
we
be
miss it, they
far
get
in the back of
3.
the house.
Exactly. I think the only shot Rob has here,
Yeah, but I
and
can
it's
play.
Draw to
the
the
draw to the button in the first
I'd
end.
rather play coming down to this.
I mean, that's
I really
just
would. I
a
think
very
it's a
hard
good
shot to take.
The hit on the inside to get a roll. Yeah, and if it's a little heavy, give me here. And if it's a little, yeah. I mean, shoes out there. And if I'm a little heavy, we just sit back. Right there.
Looks like that's what he's going to go for. He's going to draw a button with the plan B in mind of if he's a little heavy.
Play the draw. If
take
I'm
it
a little
onto the
heavy, we
back.
got backing.
Yeah.
To sit on that one, and we'll.
One of the nice things
Yeah,
is skips
well,
always say
okay,
it
well,
twice.
I
They
wanna-
say it to their vice, and then they say it to their front end so that
Well,
everybody on the
I'd like to
team
be 4-foot.
knows what's happening, because everybody has to work together to make this shot work. You know, if your front end thinks you're supposed to hit a rock, well, they're going to do a very different job
No, and
than
it's
your vice.
And it's important that the sweepers know about that plan B because
Play for the hit, then.
you know Rob's already let go of the rock. A long time ago at this point. So plan B is all in their hands at this point.
Doesn't want to come back.
He is heavy, and he
Doesn't
was a
wanna
little
come
wide,
back.
but he is going to hit that red out of there,
hell?
and he's going to leave it. Looks like 2 red to me. Oh, yeah, that's 2
Never
red to me.
move back either. Yeah.
Well,
they
wait for
put-
them to put it on the board officially, but unofficially, that's a 2 red.
It's really close to being 2. I agree. It's probably 2 red. Fortunately, they're right by the scoreboard, so we'll have a score update as soon as Bob posts it.
Back. What? Yeah, and it just didn't want to move back.
And here at the end of our first end, we'll go ahead and give you some score updates from some other games. Over on sheet A, We have Nutmeg against Charlotte. And hindsight, I should have looked at which team is which color before I looked up the teams. So we'll get that score update momentarily.
You gotta hit it.
On sheet C,
Yeah, you
after
got it.
one end, we have Potomac 3 took 2 with the hammer in the first end.
Yes!
Potomac
Yes!
3 leading
He's
2-0
inside.
over Potomac 1 after 1.
Come on, Mike. We gotta do better than that. Up your pass. Way inside. Come way inside.
We appear to be having some technical difficulties with our cameras for the moment. You'll see it has some artifacts. We'll try and work on that and see if we can improve it during this game.
Over on sheet D, it looks like the team calling themselves the Geisha Girls took 2 points with the hammer in the first end to lead a team from St. Catharines 2-0 after 1.
And Geisha Girls is yet another Potomac team, so good luck to them. And it's the good kind, right?
Yes, it is the good kind.
Gotta get rid of it. Hit the broom this time, please. Yes! Jesus, come on, Mike.
Okay. Have a look, it's gliding.
Howard Griffin, second for
Not in.
Potomac 2. Dawn telling her sweepers that she does not want this rock in the house. She'd love it
I
to
was
be a
saying, have
guard.
Look, it's gliding. Good sweep. Thank you.
The rock
And-
does drift in just a little bit, but it does guard the inside of the rock.
And I appear to have just gotten my situation over here on sheet A figured out. The team from Nutmeg is throwing the red rocks, and they have scored 3 in the first end to lead the team from Charlotte 3-0 after 1. They have not put up who had the hammer that end, but I'm going to guess it was probably the team with the red rocks because it's a lot easier to score 3 with the hammer than without.
Sweepers are trying to keep that rock on target.
They're going to get 1. I'm pretty sure he was throwing the double there. But
I indeed think if he was narrow, that rock over-curled past the top rock and hit the back one. So that wasn't plan A, but they managed to get something out of it.
Draw behind. Same weight is good, Howard. They can sweep it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sweep it
that's
over.
going to split off
Yeah,
of that
that's right,
rock.
sweep it
And
over. Very nice.
Again, I don't think that was plan A.
no, it's not usually what you're looking for without the hammer, but in this case, just that many rocks in the house that Rob's going to have to deal with is going to make him put in a lot of work this end and probably not get a ton of points out of it. Yeah,
Rob.
he can't establish guards here. He's got to get these red ones out of the way. And he's probably going to end up just trying to keep the sheet open now.
Yeah, that rock looks a little light. It was a little narrow from the release, from the way that Rob yelled for the sweepers to get on immediately. And he's going to wind up with a guard, which is not what he wanted at this point.
No, he really didn't want to guard the center. He really didn't want to guard at all on that shot, but especially guarding the center.
He left a guard that Potomac II can now use and draw behind. And Rob's probably going to have to waste a rock and try and peel his own guard.
Okay, no line yet. Well, if you can, no line. No line at all yet. Yeah, play the rub. Oh, no, no, we're by the rub. We're by the rub. Wait only. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wasn't curling, so I was going to try to play the rub. But good sweep. Thank you.
It was a pretty nice draw by Bob Peltier. A little deep, but it is mostly behind the cover there. And, oh, it's almost completely behind the cover there, looking at it from the other end of the sheet.
He was a little wide, so the sweepers had to wait a while. But I think it's okay that he was wide because he was a little heavy too.
Rob here, I think, looking for a freeze onto that rock that Bob just threw.
I think he'd be happy to just get it behind the guard because since Potomac II didn't put a rock on the button, I think Rob's trying to draw behind his guard and try and just lock one in, try and find draw weight.
Going to get the come around. It did clear the guard. It's over.
Look at that curl, though.
It finishes hard and finishes heavy, well into the back of the house.
That's out.
Yeah, that rock won't do Rob any good. Potomac II is still sitting 1, 2, and 3.
The one out Rob here has, though, is that those two red rocks at the top of the house are still open, and he can use one to either hit and roll under his center guard, or he can just use them as backstops to come down and sit in the house there.
Indeed.
No
But
line yet. Well, if you can, no line.
Red is
no
sitting
line,
3,
no line at all.
probably about to sit 4. That puts a lot of pressure on a skip.
It does.
It's not going to bury, so we'll just leave it high. That's okay. It's okay. Nice shot, Bob. Good sweep, guys. Thank you.
Don's saying that wasn't going to bury, but it's about as close to buried as it can get without being buried.
Yeah,
And
I would say
it's
that
right on the button there.
I'd say that rock is about half exposed. Maybe a little less, but Rob can easily draw down to that with, I would think, backline weight.
Probably. I'm not sure about the curl. I haven't really been tracking how the rocks have been moving. The last one certainly moved a lot for a rock of backline weight. But, it's definitely enough there that he can get to this with a down weight shot.
Well, Rob is keeping his sweepers off, so it's definitely not narrow.
Yeah, I got it. I'm good.
Ooh, as we see it approach the house here, it was a little wide.
It rubs off, moves the red to the edge of the 4-foot, sticks around to be second shot, perhaps?
As we look at the overhead cam, I'm guessing it's actually a third shot,
We're one,
but the
two.
disappointment here is that Potomac's shot rock is now undercover.
It is.
It's
That's
buried.
That's
Not
a
curling a lot at
tricky
all.
double there, if
all.
that. That's a pretty straight
Yeah.
line. I don't
If-
think that's
Just right here, right?
there.
And if it's going to bury, then we can take it back.
I mean, Mike threw his first too
But
wide.
ideally up here.
Or narrow. And we
To
give up ends like that.
Nigel, I see you in the chat. You've asked
We got
about
hammer,
Nutmeg
and
on sheet A.
gonna
Yes,
be
Team
lucky to get a
Nutmeg
point.
is playing on sheet A against the team from Charlotte.
Mike was
I
no.
believe
And Kevin
Nutmeg is the team throwing the
So
red
we're
rocks.
1-2
They're leading
still.
3-0 after one in.
Just you know,
Uh,
while fighting the eight, block off the draw.
The team
If
from
it's gonna
Charlotte
bury, then
looks
we
to
can
be
take it back
sitting
behind.
2 at the moment
Deeper.
here in the second.
Right.
You can actually,
that's the shot.
that would be them on
Block
the
the draw.
right. If you see them,
A little bit less.
the view
Bob.
you have now of sheet B,
Thank
sheet
you.
A would be to the right. So you
So
can
I'm
see
gonna
about
throw
half
it
of their
really
game.
nice, 'cause they're gliding a long way. So try not to jump until it starts to curl.
And back here on sheet B, Dawn Findlay is about to throw her first of 2 skips rocks. She's feeling pretty confident right now. She's sitting first and second shot, we think,
No.
and can easily throw up another guard to help protect those two.
No, I attack when I go down.
No line.
Sitting first and second
No
shot,
line
and
at
if she
all.
really wanted to be aggressive, she could
line.
I feel
pick
bad for
that
you
yellow
going
out of there and be sitting 5.
I don't think,
No
Dawn,
line,
I
no
don't
line
think
at
it's one
all.
to get greedy.
No, I wouldn't be either, unless I was in a situation where I needed the points. She's just going to take the conservative, relatively conservative shot and draw
Just
directly to
can't
the
seem
button.
pull back enough.
It's not often that you call that a
I'd
conservative
like-
shot.
I'd like to sit on it.
Well, that rock is probably a little deeper than she wanted it, because now again it gives Rob something to hit or something to draw down to, giving him a little more leeway in terms of just how much weight he
A little
throws.
heavier.
So he can be a little heavy, he can be a little light.
Because even if I could get the inside of this, but I mean,
It also gives him a little bit of a way to try to get to that rock that was shot previously. He can hit that Don's recent draw with some weight and maybe pitch it over there to the right from this angle and make a tricky kind of double. But I would imagine he's not going to try that. He's probably just going to tap that back or freeze to it.
Where's your hammer? You used to have?
I agree. I think,
Do you like
well,
it better?
given that ice,
Is it heavy?
I think he's probably going to go for a takeout or
Heavier than mine.
probably bumper weight, you think?
All right,
Kind of a
let's come
control
on,
weight,
like a
not as hard as he can
control
throw.
weight. Yeah, hit it on the nose, force it out the back. Get it out of there, but he definitely needs this to stick around, so he's not going to throw big weight here.
Well, it's a little thicker pad,
relax
too.
and
Yeah.
calm down and like.
Thicker pad.
Right. Well, we want to come in and just. I mean, it's gonna move regardless. But what Dawn throw? You guys timing her? 4. But yeah, we gotta start controlling.
As we look at the throwing end here, Rob is getting into position.
They're sitting 3 or 4.
Rob Chester with his first of 2 rocks.
Yes.
That pressure you
Yes,
mentioned
it's
of all
gonna
the
hit the
red rocks
guard.
coming into play.
Okay.
He's going to catch that one right on the nose, send it
That
back.
was wrong.
It jams on another red, though. He does sit shot, though. He's slightly exposed.
I'm looking at it on an angle.
But
Well,
you
Yeah,
could
it's a
argue
little-
mission
little heavier than
accomplished
I
on that
wanted.
shot, though. He got the shot. He removed shot rock. He's sitting shot with another rock to come. So he is going to make Don make a shot here. I mean, it's a relatively open hit, but it's not wide open.
Well, no, I
Well,
We have seen some funny movement on the rocks. So
well, as we look at the overhead cam here, I think
we had 3 rocks.
actually Dawn might be getting a little greedy, and because there is a double there. If Dawn hits the yellow rock on the forefoot on the right side, she might send it flying to the back of the house and wind up getting both yellow rocks out. I think it's
Well,
there, and
hopefully
if
if
you're
we
going to go for
push
the
it
takeout,
back, we hit
you
it
might
in
as
that
well go
back
for the
one,
really hard
worst
one,
case.
because if you miss the
Well,
hard one, you get the easy one.
Well, and she definitely wants to hit it on the right anyway, because if she hits it on the left, she's just going to jam it into one of the other rocks she's already counting
Well, then
there.
I have a
So
draw
she
down to that
does want to
pocket.
hit this nose or to the right as opposed to the left.
And I think she wouldn't even mind clearing the guard. That's not a horrible result for her.
That wouldn't hurt her either, because it just leaves
The guard's not protecting anything that important.
but she doesn't have any other rocks, so clearing the guard doesn't really help her. in that
That's what I didn't want to do.
And it did jam, but it jammed on.
How did
yellow.
that?
That's what I
How did that fit through that hole?
Play the draw.
I didn't think that hole was there.
Out
So
here.
now that's going to be at the moment red sitting at least
Yeah.
3.
It's. I think it's 4.
4, 3.
Well, Brian Breen for right side that could play thinks it's 3.
I
But
do think that
still.
the rock in the back of the house there is only about half
All right.
into the white.
What do
and
I
the
need for the
yellow
draw?
one is
Like 3,
more
6?
than half.
You're right.
But if 3 or 4 at this point is pretty inconsequential. Yellow needs to draw this into
5,
the
so I want to be
forefoot
about
and get a
65.
point.
Yet again, Rob has a draw to the button against lots of red.
This one much more open than his last, with a good amount of backing, and the backing being to the sides means he can be a little off on the line too.
Well, sweepers are staying off. That's normally a good sign.
It does look like it has
Anytime.
plenty of room around the guard. It looks like it could be a touch heavy, but if it moves across like it is, it will settle in there.
He's a little too deep, so he's not going to get 1. But he will
He will cut red
down to 2.
Ooh.
It's an improvement.
I need 65. It's close.
It is an improvement over the 3 or 4 they
All
were
right, sorry,
sitting.
guys. Yeah.
He was just a little heavy, and
And he did have backing. He had the margin to be a little heavy, but not quite that heavy.
indeed.
Or he needed to be heavier to push that one further out.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, as we look at the scoreboard here, we can see that Potomac II is leading the game 4-0. They have scored 2 in both the first and second, and stealing both times. And as we take a look at Team Potomac II, we can see that, it's not actually Ann Dougherty. Paige Roberts, the alternate, has filled in this game, so Paige Roberts is the lead. Howard Griffin is the second, Bob Pelletier is the vice, and Dawn Findley is the skip.
Some updates from other sheets. The team throwing the yellow rocks on sheet A from Charlotte Center took 1 in the second end, so that's a score of Nutmeg 3, Charlotte 1 after 2 ends. And on sheet C, the other Potomac team in that game, they're both Potomac teams. Potomac 3 took another point in the second, so it's Potomac 3-3. Potomac
Nice
1-0
corner guard, shop
after
center.
2 ends. We haven't seen a second end hung yet over on sheet D, but as soon as they do, we will report that to you.
Nice 3-guard, Mike. Just a nice 3-guard.
You can see Paige's guard was just barely over the hog line.
Whoa. Line's good. That looks like it's got a lot on it, though. It's got a lot on it, doesn't it?
Yeah. If that is too heavy, that's
Really
going to be a
swinging
problem
back, but it's-
because when you're this far down, one thing you need to do
You
is
know
get
what?
those guards
Yeah.
established, because the only way
Let's
you're going to get a
go.
big
You
end
get
with
it
the
across
hammer
the
is to put up some corner guards.
And that's drifting into the house. The lines,
The line isn't bad, and if they actually finish it, they could get it behind that high guard. They did somewhat. Now, the guard's
Okay,
so
Mike.
high that
Good
it's
try.
not really relevant. But
yeah.
if the red team misses this takeout, it does give yellow a chance to try to lock that in there and at least save that 1 point.
Agreed.
Try to get more.
But Paige Roberts, I don't think she's going to miss this.
Probably not, but she does appear to be down weight. Still probably enough to move that out of there.
Beautiful shot, Paige.
Yep, right on the nose. Yellow rock moves out the back.
Just enough weight to move it out. No need to throw a bunch of weight at it. Nice shot, Paige.
Mike, just a control takeout. Just nothing too heavy. I mean, the ice is fast.
And Paige's last shot really is a good definition of the phrase control weight. It puts a little bit more control in the hands of the sweepers. Gives them a rock they can keep up with, and it gives them a rock that they
Way
can
too
move
heavy.
around a bit if they have to.
Way too heavy, Mike.
And it's a rock that you can control the roll too. If you
No, it's too
throw
heavy,
too
not moving
heavy
at all.
and you hit,
Way
you
too
roll and you roll too far,
Good
or
try.
you don't roll where you want to go.
Well, when you throw it too heavy, this is what happens.
He didn't have enough control over the shot there. And especially being wide as opposed to narrow, you don't have any control of the shot. You just have to hope it comes back, and if you're too heavy, it won't.
And I think we've been hearing about it all game, that just if you're up weight enough, it never comes back. Well, that's probably true in almost any game. If you're too heavy, it's never coming back.
Great shot, Brian. Hit this one, do it again, okay?
Yeah. Nothing too heavy. I mean, Mike was online. He was just way too heavy. Just back line. too heavy. It's too heavy. A little wide and weight, it's just too heavy. We're board plus.
Yeah, unmute you too.
We're throwing way too heavy. Guys,
We are now unmuted. So, after lead rocks, this should look familiar. Red is in the house and yellow's nowhere in sight.
And that is a good arrangement for a steal. A high guard, a low guard, and a rock right in the middle of the house. They're not perfectly lined up, but they're lined up enough that they cover each other. You can't run them back. You can't get around it. That's about as close to locking that 1 point in there as you can.
And Howard's going to add another guard and just cover that shot rock. Look at this. This is a very, very nice rock. Almost exactly parallel to their existing guard.
you gotta hit it.
And Rob's right. You have to hit it. You have hammer. Clear the guards up as much as you can. You might even get the double, but you never know.
And we did get that update on sheet D. They did hang their second end. The team throwing the yellow rocks from St. Catherine's put up a 3 in the second end. So after 2 over there, it's St. Catherine's 3, and the Geisha girls, the good kind, with 2.
No, we can't continue this. I mean, Mike's first shot. Give Paige a big number sack. Well, we can't. We
Mike's
can't score points if we can't get our first 4 rocks in play.
And Rob is right. The leads and the seconds are often some of the overlooked members of the team. But if you can't establish that presence on the sheet early, you're not going to get a lot of points. He's right.
It's one thing I started to learn as I moved from lead to second to vice, and now I've begun to skip, and it's that the front end is actually at least as important as the back end.
Every member of the team has to contribute, not just on each shot, but each person has a role to play, just like in any other team sport. And if one person isn't playing their role, the team isn't going to have success.
All right, Brian.
Especially when playing against more experienced teams, they will play you
Just
enough to
back
find
line,
your
nothing
weak spot
heavy.
and exploit it.
What?
Now-
Exactly. And if there's one thing that this the red team, Don Finley's team here, has going for them, it is a lot of curling experience.
Oh yeah, Don Finley, Bob Pelletier, and Howard Griffin. They are
He is good.
some of the most
Yes,
experienced
yes, yes!
players here at Potomac Curling Club.
Hard! Bring that in, Kevin.
And they add to it Paige Roberts, who, while a relative newcomer to the sport, has picked it up very quickly.
We got it. You guys. Next step, guys. Next step.
She does have a great deal of experience in some of the 500 Bonspiels, and has had a great deal of success, I believe, in some of those 500 Bonspiels. So definitely a good choice as a 5th, and she's certainly contributing well tonight here with her shots on this team.
Speaking of experience, here's Bob Pelletier.
Rob Chester's team not yet able to get at that shot rock, and red is just keeps piling up the guards in front of it. Definitely not making it easy for them. That one did float down a little close, so there is a chance at a double.
You can get the
here.
double. Come up, wait. It's not going to move. We know that. I don't care. We get them both out. They're sitting 2.
Rob looking for the double here. If he gets this double, he'll be in a decent position to take 2, because he'll be sitting 2 in the house,
No, he's
and hopefully
wide.
they'll be away from each other. But
You hear Rob
Yeah,
saying
he
that he
pushed it
pushed
wide.
it wide. It looks like this is just going to flash.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
and you pushed it wide.
Yep.
one of the dangers of going up weight is you have a little less control on your throw, and it tends to loosen up your line a little bit. You wind up a little wide, or you wind up a little narrow. It's not as precise as more down weight pitch.
And I know, at least personally, when I try to throw up weight,
like, oh boy.
especially
Because you're on line.
a lot of up
And
weight
then
like
when
that,
you
when
did
you're trying to
this,
move
it
a lot of
went
rocks,
bad.
the release becomes very important because if you exaggerate your delivery to get a little a little bit more weight behind the rock, you can over rotate or under rotate the rock, and you either push it a little bit or you just don't get the consistent line that you normally have.
Mm-hmm.
They just gotta,
As one of our instructors here who does a wonderful job with our rental groups, you know, if you have $1 million shot but a $1 release, you get a $1 shot. So every bid is just as important as the next. And like we were talking about earlier, where every player has their own piece to contribute. And if one of them is coming up a little short, that really impacts the entire team. With the release or with the delivery, every single piece of it is important. And if one of those little pieces just isn't quite aligned with the others, your entire shot is then just not quite what you wanted.
And there's a tight center guard right over the top of that double. The double certainly isn't there anymore.
Wow, is the triple there?
I think so.
It's as there as the double was.
Except you actually now have to throw that up weight because instead of moving 2 rocks out of the house, you have to move 3 rocks, and one of them has to go through the house completely.
And with more interactions between rocks, the tighter your precision has to be because each rock has to slide directly onto the spot for the other rock.
That would be bad.
A lot of different ways
I
want
to play the draw. So
Yep.
give me like,
Rob's wisely choosing to avoid that and get some practice in for his next shot. Rob's going to go for the draw. At least that's the call.
We got to be able to set up an end. 3 ends in and we can't set up an end. Well, yeah, there's that too. There is that. All right, we're going to play the draw. 3-6.
So if that timing is accurate, you heard, 3.6 is often how sweepers will time a rock. That's from the back line or from the tee line. Most people use back line to the hog line. It's a way to measure the speed and get some science behind
sweep harder and get
where
in
do we
front
think
of
the
the
rock's
stone.
going to wind up. If it is a 3.6 to tee, then this is pretty fast Potomac ice.
That might be. Just eyeballing it, this was a lot slower than a 3.6. And it's going to be a lot short of the tee line.
It's not. That's close, though. For being swept all the way, that's very, very close.
Line off too.
Good job, sweepers, on jumping on it. They couldn't quite get it there. Folks, in case you haven't noticed, we have this lovely chat box next to our live stream. You'll see that Nigel Lucas and Melvin Shaw have contributed their comments to our broadcast. Thank you, Nigel, and thank you, Melvin. You can join live stream and send us your comments, and if you send us a question, we'll be happy to try and answer it on the air.
All right, well, that's a beautiful promotable rock potentially.
That is indeed a beautiful promotable rock. However, if you promote it, you're still only getting one.
I think we can nose promote it straight back.
Rob discussing strategy with his vice in the back of the house. Meanwhile, Dawn here in the hack, getting ready to deliver her final stone of this, the third end.
She's going to draw through that port. She's going to draw through that port.
Dawn decides to play it safe. She's still sitting 2 in the house.
She is, and this guard's going to settle in over the yellow rock, which, as Rob pointed out, it was beautiful and promotable, and that is definitely going to take some of the beauty out of that promote.
I don't even think that promote's there anymore, not without doing the run back promote.
I don't either.
Which is always dangerous because then you're putting an opposing rock into the house, which can always backfire.
I know you at home can't see it, but I'm just nodding my head like, yes, I've done that. I've thrown that screw-up rock.
Like here? Or
Who hasn't?
Even maybe a little more because
Has
I think
Glenn
I'm
Howard?
heavier, though.
Probably,
Wouldn't
at
you say
least
maybe
probably
about-
some
well,
in the early stages
I
of
was
his
light
career,
and
I
they
would imagine.
drag it there,
Probably
so maybe
30
a
years
little
ago
heavier.
when he was learning to
Yeah.
curl.
Alright.
So as we look at the overhead shot, we can indeed confirm that Potomac II is sitting 2 red rocks, 1 in the 4-foot and 1 in the 8-foot.
We got to play off the inside of the yellow. I want to throw about a 3-4 at it, so we can hit the inside.
We do have
of
another
the,
scoring update from
light
sheet
side of the
C.
yellow to
The
roll.
third end has been hung on the
So the
scoreboard,
last
and
one
it's
was like a
another
3-7, 3-8.
2
We
points
drag there.
for
So we're gonna give
Potomac
the same line, but
3,
throw it a little
skipped by
heavier,
Scott
so we
Eady.
stay out more.
So that's going to be 5 points for Potomac 3, skipped by Scott Eady, and still 0 points on the board for Potomac 1, skipped by Nick Smith.
Back here on sheet B, Rob Chester with the hammer for the end. He's trying to actually hit his own rock and roll inside to try and become shot. Difficult one to throw. He wound up wide, and
Yeah,
he just
what'd I throw, 30?
hits his own rock through the house.
Sorry, guys. All right, we need rocks, guys. We need rocks in play. I mean,
So
I
after
need
this,
I don't
the
care if
third
it's
end,
two
as
guards.
we enter the
I need
fourth end,
guards.
you can see that Potomac 2 has stolen 2, and then stolen 2, and then stolen 2 again. So they are now leading 6-0. And as we did after the second end, let's take a look at a team list here in the end of the third end. Wife Said I Could Play is led by cousin Mike, Michael Ellison.
That's his real name.
Absolutely. Second is Kevin Ritter. Vice is Brian Breen. And the skip, of course, who
Well,
you've
we're
been hearing
consistent.
through
We
our
have two
wonderful
every
wireless skips mic, is Rob Chester.
We're playing horrible. I cannot. My first 4 stones, I can't get in play. And Brian and I are throwing heavy.
One of them's muted, one of them's not. Just swap.
And it's over curling.
So we're going to pick up Don's mic here.
Okay. All right, good sweep.
Sweepers couldn't quite get it to the hog line. Paige hogged that rock. I think she owes the pig a quarter.
It's at least $1, isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was a quarter for Leeds. I thought it was, if you hogged as a skip, I thought it was $1.
It should be like $40 if you hog one as a skip. That is just unacceptable.
Well, don't tell my team that because I hogged one as a skip on Sunday.
Sundays are a different matter. But anyway, that could be the opening that Rob Chester needs to try to set up a big end here. He does really need to get, as he was mentioning, he does need to get his guards up, get this end set up. This one is going to run just a little bit long.
It does indeed drift into the house.
And that's going to sit back edge of the 4-foot. And
Take it out.
Rob
Spot
visibly
line,
disappointed
nice and easy.
at his team's inability to put up the guard.
Dawn calling for a takeout.
Yes, for line. Hard.
Paige apparently a little narrow on the release. Dawn getting her sweepers
All
on
right,
it
guys.
immediately. This rock could overcurl.
I think it might end. It's definitely down
Still got a
weight. I
piece
mean,
of it.
it's
Stay with it. You're doing great.
probably looking for something like a control weight and got maybe
All right,
more
good
like
sweep. Thank
back
you.
line to hack. So again, a possible opportunity here for Rob to, his rock's going to stay in play, and if he can cover it up, he'll be sitting in a reasonably good position here.
Probably a little early to split the house and just keep 2. So he's got an opportunity to try and go for 3 or 4 points. I think he's going to take it.
Right, and with as close to that the center line as the first rock is, he doesn't have much of an opportunity to really split the house.
True.
This rock looks heavy and quite wide. It looks really outside. And it's definitely going to come down past the tee. No, not past the tee. It's going to sit in the top of the 8.
Do this. Just hack.
That's not too bad.
It sort of splits the house front to back. They're not
Yep.
really, they're far enough apart that it's not an easy double. But Don here is just going to try to take out the top one.
Yes, for line! Whoa! Whoa! Oh, that's my bad. Sorry. I thought it was going to take off. All right, nice shot,
Does
Howard.
make the hit, but the rock is going to peel out.
Good sweep,
So
guys.
it does leave Rob with the rock still at the back of the
Hey,
house.
how are you? You did a great job on the ice. It is so fast.
You can see Don in the back there talking to Ken, our ice master, appreciating this very fast ice. Ken and his crew have worked very, very hard, especially since January, when we've tweaked our ice a little bit, changed our procedures, and put a new blade on the scraper. And it's really helped us get fast ice.
Okay. Well,
Kevin Ritter here with
right.
his
Doesn't know- it
first
doesn't hurt to
rock,
get a second opinion.
the third rock for team Wife Said I Could Play.
Okay.
Looks like he's probably found guard weight. Oh, he definitely has found guard weight. That's going to check up really high. It doesn't really matter if it touches the ring or not because we're not in the free guard zone rocks. It is going to sit
Yes.
in front of his first rock,
Yeah,
mostly
I agree.
covering it.
I think he actually
would like
wanted it in
that.
the house.
I wouldn't be
since-
surprised. Since the free guard zone rule doesn't apply, you may as well try to get another
If we
counter
get
out
the
of it.
double,
Exactly.
that's okay too. Bumper. Yeah, hard. Hard. Very nice. Good sweep, guys. Thank you. Heaters are good. Yeah. They're good.
We have some more third end updates for you. Charlotte Center over on sheet
Yeah.
A stole 1 in their third end. So after 3 ends, it is Nutmeg with 3 and Charlotte Center with 2. And in the third end over on sheet D, St. Catherine's, looking at the scoreboard, appears to have stolen 5 in the third end to make it St. Catherine's 8 and the Geisha Girls, the good kind, with only 2.
So Don in the last rock for Team Red did a hit and roll over to the right-hand side of our screen here. And Rob deciding to just put that yellow rock right back.
Okay? Yes, for line! Whoa, 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 we're on the front. Roll the red over, Paige. No roll. That's fine. Good sweep, guys. Thank you.
So it sounds like Bob was a little narrow on the release,
My reds at the front of the house. Rather than the others.
and he wound up hitting the yellow guard instead. So Wife Said I Could Play is indeed sitting shot rock, and it looks like they're going to try and draw another one
Yeah,
behind
keep warm.
now the red guard.
Oh, okay.
Is it a draw, or do you think he's going to try to hit that red on the outside and use it to roll in? That definitely looks like he's setting up for the draw. It's probably a more consistent shot to attempt.
Yep. No need to go crazy quite yet.
And like you mentioned, since yellow is shot, there's no need to go after that red rock. It's out there on the fringe. If you have to, you can use it at the end of the end as a way to stop your own rock. Pick that one out and sit there to sit for an extra point.
Yep, and with this one, you might end up also providing a little more protection to your shot rock.
You might, especially if Brian comes up a foot or two short with that and leaves the guard. But it's reasonably high, not as far as guards go in general, but
Top it up.
it's far enough above
T-line.
shot rock that it doesn't really leave much of a double.
It does eliminate the drawdown too. So
At least from that side.
exactly. And nobody's played on the outside of this sheet for this end. So Dawn's just going to try and promote back and raise her own rock from the guard zone to the button, which, if she manages to do, will be completely protected. Makes good contact,
Nice shot, Bob.
but the
Catches
rock.
it just a little heavy and moves it to second shot. And a little bit exposed. So Rob could actually use that as a backing or a target to come down.
Well, but it
Probably
is.
not on this shot, but it's definitely, it will probably come into play.
I think towards the end, it's a little early to try and go for it because it's in the back of the house. I agree. I think Rob's going to try the exact same thing that Dawn just tried, promote his own rock from the guard zone to the button. And then Rob will be sitting two undercover.
It's a little wide. I think he might be just drawing around that guard. And he's going to rub the outside of it, split off.
This is a very interesting result. Well, not quite as interesting as I was hoping, because as we look at the overhead cam,
Still want to play the top, right?
I
Straight
don't
back?
think that yellow
Okay.
rock on the center line is in the house. I think it's still a guard. It's close.
I gave you there. I think this
I
is smidge
don't
more.
think it is.
Yeah.
And I'm
that's why
not
saying just a
sure
smidge more. I'll
if
try to be
those
a
two
little bit
rocks
lighter. Okay.
and what is now
T-line.
the lower right-hand corner of your screen, I'm not sure if the yellow is out counting the red out of those two. It doesn't really matter because they're both third and
All right,
fourth
let's
shot.
just play the top up.
It
T-line
could matter
weight.
if yellow started going nuts and just picking out all the reds.
Yep. It would have left Rob with some interesting, hey, doubles or crazy shots for 3 or 4. But for the moment now, he's still just sitting the one.
No, and he
And there's-
definitely doesn't. I mean, he's a few steals behind here, but if he can convert a 2 here, maybe get lucky and get a 3, he's still right back in the game. The game's only half over,
Not even yet.
and he can. Well, at the end of this inning, maybe.
True.
And but still, just get some points on the board. It gets the confidence back.
Yes,
It gets
for
the
line.
momentum back in your favor.
Hard for line.
It's really hard to underestimate just how important confidence is in this game. I mean, you start getting behind, and then suddenly, hey, you manage to score 2, or you manage to do something, and you start feeling better. Your team starts feeling better. You start making your shots, and then suddenly you're tied and right back in it.
Good sweep, that curled a
This
lot.
rock from Potomac II didn't quite do what it wanted. The rock over curled, and instead of pushing the red rock onto the button, it kind of split, and so red wound up with a rock on the left side of your screen here.
That was a good hold by the sweepers, though, because as it was over curling, I started looking at it to move even over and promote the yellow instead of the red. But it
Ooh.
did catch enough of the red that it rolled over the yellow instead of hitting it flush. So it does cover the middle. It did roll enough over that it's not covering
yet?
yellow's shot rock. So if it were not yellow's turn right now, red would have a shot at shot rock.
Good.
Indeed. I think
Well,
Rob
that's what you're
sees
looking
that
at. You
hole
get
and
color
sees that
now.
his shot rock is
Used
now
to look a little
exposed.
grayish.
So he's probably going to try and draw to the top of the 8-foot, hopefully be second shot rock, try and provide a little protection to his own shot rock, and
I'm surprised Sarah Joe's
Be
like,
sitting
yeah,
two.
curling so much. Good.
let's listen in as Rob throws his rock.
Make sure it gets it around.
Rob watching
No,
the
I
line
don't
very
wanna touch-
carefully.
Oh, we waited too long.
All right.
We waited too long. Oh, we got to see that. We got to see that.
Sometimes these rocks can look like they're on a decent
telling you to
line,
sweep.
and then they just start hooking. It's like, oh, the rock decides, hey, I'm going to start curling now, and it just hooks. And you got to start sweeping before that happens, or you're going to lose the rock, unless you anticipate it and you want that turn to happen. But in this case, they didn't quite want it to happen at that point. So Rob sitting one, but the
Oh,
rock
that
is
blows.
completely
I
exposed.
think the
So
weight
Don
would've been
has
fine.
not an easy
I mean, it
shot,
might have over
but a
curled little
makeable
bit, but I
shot
think we would have been sitting
to
1
try and hit and sit 1-2. And yet again, try and steal 2 or maybe 3 or 4.
Straight shape, take out.
But she does have to make it between the 2 yellow rocks sitting in the top of the 12-foot. If she crashes, which is very possible, who knows what will happen. Dawn's rock is away. Sweepers are letting it curl.
There's the
Comes
hit,
down.
and that is exactly what she was looking for. It rolls just a
Right,
bit
end of
under
the
the
draw.
cover.
Up to you, whatever you feel better about.
Exactly
s-
what she needed to
It's
do.
going to sit at least 1 and 2. And
Dawn-
we've got an interesting situation here developing over on C. We have a debate
draw.
over which rock is shot here
through the
between
draw.
a red and a yellow.
Maybe a
Red has
touch
just made a
more, but not
spectacular
much.
draw down to the button. We have 1 rock for each team, sort of nibbling at the button here. They're close enough to the pin that our
How many are they
measuring
sitting,
device doesn't work in that spot.
I've-
So they have
Play
to
the
do
draw.
it visually,
Same,
and
same,
various people are
same
now
weight.
investigating
You're gonna need to bring it there.
determine who could
What'd I
be
throw the
shot
last
there.
one?
We have put it on a
There's
screen
gotta
for
be-
you, so this is
Alright,
sheet
50,
C,
55. You guys are gonna have to bring it there.
where both rocks are biting
That
the button.
last
They're
one
just
was
not quite sure which.
probably close.
But we're going to switch back to sheet
Yeah.
B now. Here's the house, and Rob is about to throw his rock.
From my angle, it looks
Whoa.
outside, but it's
Yes,
hard
go,
to
go,
tell 'cause I
go!
do have a bad angle.
There's
Whoa.
that curl. It's a little heavy. He's going to need to use his backing.
Oh, that is going to settle down nicely right in the back of the 4-foot.
Falling away.
Hey, nice shot,
Wonderful
Rob.
draw to the full 4-foot. That's going to be 1 point for Rob Chester, and wife said I could play. It does, I guess you could say it just stops the bleeding.
It definitely stops the bleeding, and it's a made shot. It was a very nice shot.
Finally,
You know, it's one of those shots where, all right, we got something going now. And now both teams have been in the same position for 4 ends. Potomac II has not had the hammer, they've had the steal, and Rob has had the hammer
That they can't
for
get weight
every
on.
end so
Mike, I
far.
need
So
a
now
guard.
that it's a complete
I
change-up,
don't care if it's here
we'll see what happens.
No,
or
sometimes
here,
just that
but it's
switch
got to
around
be a guard. We
gets it for
cannot.
you.
We need stones
They
in play.
do have the
Not
measuring
funny.
tool out on sheet C.
Like, it's got to be in play.
It does work. It's they're not too tight that it's not working.
We're going to jump back to that house over on sheet C and catch the measurement.
I like a 3.
And the call is they didn't really illustrate,
Three's good.
so we'll wait
Yeah,
for them
yeah,
to
yeah.
hang that.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. Deep as we can get it. It's a beautiful shot, Mike. Great sweeping, guys.
Melvin, we're
That's a
not
great
quite sure
shot,
if we're going to
Mike.
be able
Good
to post
job.
the draw on the internet right now. It's apparently a publisher
What'd he say?
file. We're not sure if we have the ability to make it an Excel file. We're going to be checking with our coordinator
Normally
on
where
that
he
during the
throws the
night,
cards.
and we will update you as it progresses. But look at that guard.
That is a very nice center guard.
That is a textbook lead center guard.
I can't exactly see the handle of the rock from here. It's pretty close to perpendicular. If he's got the handle up and down the center line, that is even better. It doesn't really make much of a difference, but it's just that much prettier to look at when you can make that stick like that.
Makes you feel
but
good, too.
Dawn taking the aggressive response to the center guard and is just going to draw behind it, and she's going to put a rock right
Put a guard
on
here,
the
Mike.
It's not 100% behind that, but at least 75% behind it.
Corner guard, okay?
Rob, though, I think doing the right thing here, just ignoring that rock, trying to put up another guard.
You'll have a chance at it later in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, all the way. Over and up, over and up. Up.
So the rock definitely over curling. It's a little light and a little narrow.
No, and if it weren't for the red rock already in the house there, that would be a good spot for that guard. But at the moment, it's just guarding the other team's rock. But normally, you do want the high guard and the low guard there.
If there weren't that red rock on the button.
Exactly.
But, you know, Rob, there's a lot of rocks left in the end. Hopefully something will develop where Rob will have a hit and roll or an angled double, or something will move one of the guards. But apparently not in the lead rocks. Well, actually,
Draw down to it, Kevin.
That could leave just enough to make a
Draw down
skinny
to it.
double there, but I think drawing down to it is the better.
absolutely, especially if you get the corner freeze on it, then you can your next rock can come down with a little more weight, and you'll wind up sitting 2 in the house and push the red rock out as well. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Let's see if Kevin Ritter can put this one in the house.
Line's good.
Looks a little quick at first glance, but
No.
I was never much for calling the weight of a shot.
I'm pretty good about calling weight when I'm, walking with the rock, but, calling it from, 100 feet away,
yes, go,
a little hard to do.
It's going to make a little contact. Can't say it hurt him. I mean, he did draw down. He's sitting second shot. He moved it a bit more undercover, but he moved it to where it's more lined up with that red rock, so he could have a shot at it.
Well, I think the only problem here is that yellow's rock is now exposed. So
is,
Howard here is going to throw that hit and roll.
And Howard's not going to miss this too many times. He does look like he's going to catch the outside of it, though.
No.
There could be a jam, and no jam. It's going to skinny out the back.
It's a good thing the sweepers
Draw
never
down to
laid
it.
a broom to it. They had needed that rock to curl every inch. So Kevin now gets a chance to do the same thing, draw down to it. Rob giving him almost 4 feet of ice. We'll see if it curls 4 feet.
Considering he actually probably wants that to cross the center line at the end, I would say that's probably more.
Yep.
than 4 feet of ice.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Hard. All the way. Whoa. Sorry, I didn't hear you say 8.
That's
Yeah,
a
go. See if we can get that.
pretty good weight for the draw, but it just didn't come over as hard as they thought it would.
Sorry, I didn't hear you say
That is
8.
excellent weight. Again, it just didn't come over quite far enough. The rock is still a little exposed, so Dawn still has the hit and roll, though it's a little more weight sensitive because she has to curl around the guard a little bit.
She does, and she doesn't want to hit the outside because the jam is definitely more of a factor than it was in the last shot.
Well, she's calling for the upright hit, though. Gets around the guard.
Got the hit, sends it out the back of the house, rolls the other direction, and still sits exposed, but did remove the yellow rock, which was her primary objective here.
Hit and roll.
But the rock is exposed.
It is. and
Rob immediately sees it.
Exactly. And while we
Yeah.
have a momentary pause here when
I
we set
know.
up for Brian's rock, we do have some 4s hung up on the ice shed on the scoreboard. Over on sheet C, Potomac III's rock was shot. The yellow rock was shot in that measure of the last end. So they've taken another point And over on sheet D, St. Catherine's stole another point in the fourth end. So they now lead over the Geisha girls, the good kind,
No.
9-2 through 4 ends. But now Brian's Rock on the way for the hit and roll.
It's a little wide.
It does. He's going to catch the outside of the hit.
If I'd have known that, I'd just given you the inside of it. It didn't move.
As you might notice, folks, we have an honored guest here in the web stream with us in the comment box. Some of you Potomac folks might remember the name Kim Belf. Kim was actually the member who started our webcasting program here at the Potomac Curling Club. This was his baby for almost a year and a half, I think. He got us rolling, and we've incrementally improved and gotten a little better thanks to Kim's experience. And I think with Kim's help, we've now set up the best webcasting, I think, in the U.S. here.
I might not go necessarily that far, but it's probably the best volunteer-run web stream.
Oh, absolutely.
We're definitely not rivaling anyone's TV broadcast coverage.
All right, very true.
And we may or may not be rivaling TESN, but...
Well, I can guarantee you one thing. We will not cut away to college basketball in extra ends.
Hard.
No, if any of these games go into extra ends, we
Hard
will
all the way.
not cut away.
All the
even
way, all
though
the
the
way.
college
No,
basketball
keep
going
going.
on right
Trust
now
me,
is the
keep
most
going.
important college basketball of the season.
You're gonna cut.
But hey,
Well, not the most important because it's still the first round, but
Never cut.
But hey, this is curling.
And yours
this
didn't
is
cut
curling.
Like
If you want to watch basketball, you'd be doing that instead of sitting here on this live stream.
Exactly.
Yours
Let's take a
cut,
look at the
yours
house.
didn't.
As you can
I don't
see,
know why.
Potomac 2 is sitting
Theirs
first,
swings right
and
after the
wife said I
line,
could play a
yours
sitting
just-
second
that's why I
shot.
had 'em on it, and
Potomac
yours just didn't
2
move.
is sitting third shot. But all of these rocks are in the 4-foot. So as you can see, Dawn is going to try and call that same shot she did earlier. It's a bumper weight takeout. She's going to try and curl past the front of the rock and hit the yellow rock on the right side, as well as I can get it right now, to punch it through the house without moving her own rocks.
Destroys the ice.
Bob Pelletier throwing his rock for Potomac 2. Sweepers stay off. We'll see if it curls enough.
He doesn't want to catch the outside of that rock, which is exactly what happened. He gets the jam.
That's not what they wanted to have happen.
Although if that puts the yellow one
you gotta
partially
play on to it.
behind the red rock, it's going to make the red that much harder to move.
Yeah,
now,
maybe a little loud.
because it's going to be tough to move without also losing the yellow.
Indeed, I think Potomac 2 does really have one rock almost locked in. Rob's going to have to work really hard to get that out. Now he's got a chance. He can draw down to it, and then with his next one try and take it out. But I mean, it's not bad either to just lock in the one
It's
and
not bad
force Potomac 2 to
because
take one point.
Potomac 2 with the hammer this
Brian
end.
was a little light. Like,
I mentioned
let's
that
swap
they hadn't had the hammer yet this game.
So we want to be about a 50? All right, the
And,
pocket's there.
So, you know,
The pocket's
this could
there,
be, you know, when
so-
you don't have the hammer, just trying to get that force, you know, making the hammer team take one to get the hammer back to set up your big end. Sometimes it's as good as a steal because you're, you know, when you're down 5 in this case, you know, you need the hammer, you need to set up your big end. You're not
Hard.
going to be able to steal your way
That's
out
way
of this
too
one.
light.
Unfortunately, Kim, we can't make this mobile compatible right now. We're with our webcams and encoding and everything going on. We're really stressing out our little computer. We don't have a dedicated encoder for this event. We're going to try and work on that for next season. So we'll be able to run every stream possible, and you'll be able to watch on your cell phone and watch on your computer, and it might even be in high definition. But for this event, we're keeping it a little more low key. So we don't have quite the equipment to do that yet. That's our next project.
Hard and then it went back.
We spent a lot of time on the audio upgrades, and we hope you appreciate them. So next we're going for is video.
Yellow's rock there was a little light, like Rob thought it was. It's not a bad spot depth-wise, and it did get around that guard pretty nicely. But it is mostly exposed. There is, you know, hit it on the outside. It's going to send toward the button, and there's going to be a jam there on something, either the red or the yellow. So this could be a. Well, I'm not going to even try to guess how this might go. I can imagine how Don would like it to go. In fact, let's switch mics here and we'll listen in on Don.
Whoa! Whoa!
That will be Don.
He's got the yellow. It jams on the other yellow.
Ooh.
Well, bad. It did move the yellows off the shot rock a bit. Gives her room to put another rock in there.
I'm not sure that's a good thing, though, because now you've almost opened it up for Rob.
No.
Let's take a look at the overhead cam. Do you think the hit and roll is there, where you hit your own rock, roll over, and push the red rock off the button? I don't know if it's there.
If I can't exactly tell what part of the button is exposed. If the pin is exposed, it could be just enough roll to make contact and be shot rock and lock in a steal there. It's close. And if you come down weight, maybe you don't even have to try the hit and roll. You might be able to just break around the guard and just settle on to shot rock.
You know, and
a couple inches.
And as we're talking here, I think that's actually the call I would do, because if you go for the hit and roll and you miss, you make it an easy draw for 2. But if you go for the draw and miss, well, then you've surrounded their shot rock with 3 yellows.
Get the inside of it to just roll over and push that other one out.
And Rob's going to go for the hit and roll. He wants the steal.
About a 3-2 at it, I think. Yes, I realize that, but it'll be completely.
He's going to have to hit his own rock fairly thick, but still on the right-hand side.
Yeah, it does move. So.
Gets the hit.
And not enough roll.
Was I wide or just?
He either didn't have enough weight or he hit it too thick. So one of those two. I mean, that was a very tough shot, both to throw and to sweep and to call the line off. So as we look at it here, Dawn does have
just hack type weight will give it a chance to curl a bit.
A hack weight hit and sit for 2.
You can't just put your head down and sweep because you're backing them off. So we kind of have to do an on-off kind of thing. Okay? We'll call you, though. So just hack weight, get to the nose. We should be fine. So my last one was definitely bumper, right? Firm bumper or light? Okay. Just trying to figure out how much to take off of that. Hack.
As we listen in, Dawn has been discussing exactly the weight she wants with her sweepers, telling them that they're going to have to watch it pretty closely because she has to get a little bit around the guard or by the guard.
Just going out.
Oh, that rock is sailing outside.
Sorry, guys. No line at all.
She does manage to avoid promoting the yellow rock, so Dawn from Potomac II takes 1 with the hammer in the 5th end. Her team now leads 7-1.
It does, yeah. I think I was a little wide too, though, and a little heavy.
We're going to take a quick announcer break here. We'll put you watching the house, and as we let the lead rocks develop, Mike and I are going to take a quick break, and we'll join you for the final 3 ends of play.
sweep. Thank you. Sorry, Bob. I was wide and heavy. Sorry. Can you see any of it? Yeah. Okay. Just back line, we'll try and tap it back. Yes, for line! Whoa! Whoa! Stay close. Oh, great shot, Paige. Thank you. Great sweep, guys. Very nice.
It's too heavy. No, it's just too heavy. It's not going to come back. No. Nice shot, Mike.
Line's tight. Where is it? No, 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 no. It's a tight guard. Nibbler's okay. That's okay. Good sweep, guys.
Draw around. You know what? Let's come this way. No. Let's come this way. Come this way. It's a piece of hair. Yes. Yes. All the way. Up. What was the time? I don't know. Did he pull back on it, maybe? I mean, that 55 should have...
Just a variation in his release. It looked a lot. Okay. That looked a lot worse.
It's not as bad as it looks.
No, okay.
Because of the way this is cutting on this side, I was a little concerned of hitting them. See, I mean, look at, see. Now that prevents that. We can draw over here. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Worst case, we push the red in and give him another. Yes, line. Yes, line. Yes, line. Yes, line. Hard. Hard. Yeah. On. It's out. Drawing over here. Good line. Good line. Where? Where? Yes! Yeah. Whoa, it's got to come over more. Now go. There's all sorts of dimples and stuff right in all in this entire here. There's all these dimples here because of Bob. Gotta get a hit and a little bit of roll over here behind cover. No. Yeah. Hard. Hard. Play the roll. Play the roll, Mike. Nice shot, Brian. Well done. Well done, Brian. Well done.
And we're back here at the Potomac Curling Club at the National Capital Curling Center here in Laurel, Maryland, hosting the 11th annual Cherry Blossom Bonspiel. We are down to Skips Rocks here in the 6th end. Team Potomac II is leading 7. And Wife Said I Could Play has 1 point. Wife Said I Could Play is skipped by Rob Chester. Potomac II is skipped by Dawn Finley, who we are about to see deliver her first rock.
Or is it tightened up? Has it? Okay. Okay.
On that last shot, Rob got a very nice roll behind cover.
T-line is what we're looking for, T-line weight. Whoa, whoa, no line, no line, no line! Whoa!
Looks like Dawn's trying to have her sweepers match that rock behind cover. I don't think they're going to be able to get quite to it.
Good sweep, guys.
No, they wind up second shot in the house. Yellow's rock over on the right side of your screen is still shot rock.
Yeah.
And
Oh, come this way?
while we let Rob here
come this
plan
way?
his shot, we have some 5th end updates for the other games. On sheet A, I realized I never reported a 4th end update. The 4th end was 2 points for Nutmeg, and then the 5th was 2 more for Charlotte, which leaves the current score, Nutmeg 5, Charlotte 4. The 5th end on sheet C, Nick Smith's team, Potomac 1, did take 2 points. So that leaves it as Potomac 3, Scott Eady's
All right, guys.
with 6, and
We can
Potomac
find a
1,
way to
Nick
get
Smith's
we
team
can- we
with
can
2.
still get a couple points here. We're shot.
And
We
over
wanna
on
come
sheet
down the center line.
D, St.
Go at it
Catherine's
and,
took
you know,
1 more point in the
actually note
5th
that,
end,
or even
scoring
just
in the
over-
3rd,
over
4th,
nose.
and 5th ends
We'll be sitting
to make it
two.
a score
We're
of
sitting
St.
shot right
Catherine's 10,
We can find a way to get
the
two or
Geisha
three here.
girls,
We could be
the
okay.
good kind, 2.
Thank you for those scores updates, Mr. Mike. Rob Chester here with his first of 2 rocks.
It's too light.
He'd love to put this in the house and sit one
Way
too.
too light.
No, it's over curling. I hope he doesn't push it like that.
Go, go,
That's
go.
going to not be a bad result. It's not what he was looking
Nah,
for,
it's
but
not.
it.
Just too
The
light.
reds are exposed. The yellow is
He
not
said-
quite exposed. At least the shot yellow isn't
He
exposed.
said, watch your weight, and well, I
As
did.
we look
I
from the
watched
front,
it all right. I
I
watched it go
think
way
Dawn
too light.
could get to shot rock if she wanted to. But
Makes up for you.
I don't know that she needs to.
Yeah.
She's got 2 decent promotes onto the button,
What happened to the
either
Mike
one of
needs
which
to
would be
throw light?
very difficult to get rid of.
And those 4 rocks in a
Yeah,
sort of a
hug
straight
around.
line across the house there. A good shot might also be
Come
to
this
just try
way,
to draw
though.
around from the other side and just park one behind the line there.
Indeed.
Either promote would leave her in a
Well,
good
we
spot.
can play
too.
this, right? The tab. And if I go past it, if I'm heavy, well, I won't be heavy. Okay. Give me here. I'll have to throw like back 4 waves. Okay?
As you can see, Dawn discussing with Bob what the plan B will be, and then saying, of course, that plan B won't happen because she's going to get the shot right.
So we're second shot.
You always
still.
have a plan B,
So we're just going to try and tap it up.
but of
into
course,
the middle.
you never have to go to plan
The one
B,
on
right?
the right. The one I just threw.
No, and sometimes not only do you not go to plan B,
We
but
thought
you
about
go
going after
right
the
on
yellow,
through
but I
C
just
and
think it's
D and
dangerous. So back
right on to
4.
about R.
Wait,
Plan
which is
R.
just a little more than
The
I
one where the other
threw,
team
and I
goes,
tightened
how
up
the
height,
heck
so
did you
we
get
might
that
have to
lucky?
sweep. Okay. Thank you. All right. Just a smidge more than I just
Once again,
did.
Dawn's team does not have the hammer here, so they will be trying to promote their own rock undercover and try and lock in a steal.
Yeah, hard for line. Hard for line.
Looks really close.
It's going to get the contact. It's going to slide over. It is behind the yellow. It is shot.
Yeah, but there's a danger here.
I think they probably wanted it deeper and more onto the button than that, because that does leave it pretty open for a yellow raise there onto the red, and that would put yellow sitting 2.
Well, I think yellow would only be, yeah, 2 indeed. I don't think he can get the 3, but I think he can do
No, we should have
the
stayed on
raise
it.
takeout
So we could have driven it
to
further
try and
back
get 2.
behind our-
Now, those rocks aren't as close as I thought they would be.
We run the yellow straight back.
But
we get 2, maybe
I think
3.
the raise takeout
think
is there for
only
Rob
2,
to take
but-
2 here in this
Yeah.
the 6th end.
Heavier than what I threw the last
He'd
one.
still be down 7-3, but that's recoverable. 2 points an end is attainable. It's
And
not easy.
it's a reasonably big Bonspiel. A lot of games to be played. Sometimes you just have to
Whoa.
hope you get your team back
Wait,
on track
whoa,
and get ready
whoa.
for your next game. You start making shots, you get the strategy going. Oh, instead he picks out his own. Didn't really hurt him technically
we're done.
because
We're done.
red was shot, and they're going to shake. So that's going to be 1 red, which makes the final score of this game Potomac 2. There it is on your screen. 8 points. And wife said I could play. Skipped by Rob Chester. 1 point through 6 ends.
And it's good to note that
Great job.
Wife Said I Could Play never gave up a huge end. They never gave up 4 or 5 or 6. It was just 2 points after 2 points after 2 points, and they just could never quite get it there. Needed, you know, that extra couple of sweeps, or that extra just 2 inches on the line. So in the meantime, we're going to decide what game we want to tune to next. We have 3 choices available to us, sheets A, C, and D.
I mean, just looking at the scoreboards, we might want to cover the game on sheet A. We do have 2 other Potomac teams on C, so there's always that.
Not even close.
That might go the other way too. We may want to give some preference to web stream or out of town teams.
I don't know. Does anyone in our live chat have a preference? Over on sheet A, we have teams from, I'm not sure where they're from, but tell us who they are, Mike.
Those are teams Nutmeg from Connecticut and Charlotte, presumably from Charlotte.
All right. And we know over on sheet C, we have Nick Smith playing Scott Eady, both teams from Potomac. And I don't think we're going to cover sheet D because they have shaken and that game is over.
That game is over. I don't know if they finished the 6th. If they did not, then that score was 10-2 for the team from St. Catharines.
As we pull away the scoreboard here, you can see the result of sheet A where, you know, I'm not quite sure what happened. We didn't quite catch that last bit of action.
I didn't either, but either way, it was a 1-point game after 5. We'll wait to see that result of the 6th, but I'm guessing either way, we're going to have a close game going into the 7th and 8th ends.
Mm-hmm.
Did that. Should I not have?
So I think we're going to keep here on sheet A. Seems to be an interesting game going on. At the end of the 5th end, it was Charlotte 4, Nutmeg 5. And Charlotte is throwing the first rock here in the 6th end, so they did score. So it's either tied or Charlotte is winning. We will get you an update as soon as they post a score.
And the game on C, we have a brief update. Nick Smith's team, Potomac 1, did steal a point in the 6th end to narrow the gap to 6 points for Potomac 3, Scott Eady, to 3 points for Nick Smith, Potomac 1. So we could have a big finish developing over there, too. And the 6 is hung on the sheet A scoreboard. It was 1 point for Charlotte. So after 6, we have a 5-5 tie.
As we finish transferring our scoreboard over to the correct teams. You can indeed see that Nutmeg and Charlotte are currently tied with 5 points each.
Whatever sort of voodoo you've put together there to make those teams dynamically populatable is wonderful.
It's just XML. Didn't we all learn XML in school? Or was it just us crazy IT folks?
Well, I was one of those crazy IT folks, and I did learn a little bit of XML, but I've long since stopped using it.
Fortunately, Google told me how. So as we look at our teams and we find Nutmeg has Jane Beatty as the lead, Bobby Stoll as the second, Nadia Leslie as the vice, and Kathy Morley as the skip. And throwing yellow rocks from Charlotte, we have lead Carol McKee, second Dave Barley, vice Dave DeFair, and skip Omar Van Royen. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. That's going to happen a lot this week. This is Dave for Charlotte.
Oh, they get just enough contact to move the red rock out of the house? Maybe? Not quite.
Well, it's too hard to tell
And
from
I
our
think
overhead cam.
not quite out of the house is what I would call that yellow rock, too. So
Indeed. We're not quite sure who's sitting shot. This is Bobby Stoll, I think. Again, we have Dave Barley, second for team from Charlotte Center, throwing his second rock. Skip was calling for a draw into the house, I think.
I hope so, because that's what he's going to get.
I think that rock's going through, Mike.
Well, it was momentarily in the house.
It thought about sticking around.
I've been in these houses. They're rather nice, but there's not really much to speak of. I would pass on through, too.
Bobby Stoll for Team Nutmeg. Again, they're trying to put a rock in the house.
This has been some nice touch on these last couple of red rocks, getting them right about the draw weight and putting them on that pile, but I'm not sure that any of them are actually, well, the last one is, well, that one's not getting down there either. Okay.
Well, fortunately, the rocks has spawned up in a spot where we can actually tell you that Nutmeg is now sitting 1. Charlotte is second shot, and Nutmeg is third shot. This is Dave, vice for team from Charlotte.
Oh, look at that. I was going to say, didn't you just say Dave was the second? But no, the second and the vice are both Dave. So you were not wrong.
Just wait until we get to the family teams, and then it'll be the same person throwing every rock, because it'll be Schuster. I'm not sure if they're, let's find out who it is. I know there's a couple families here. Yep, Charles and Chuck Skinner are both playing on Team Steskis.
And Mike and Candace Stefanik. So they have a mixed team of sorts. No, it's actually not a mixed team of sorts. Oh, of sorts, if you count last names as if they were genders, that they're a mixed team of sorts.
That rock winds up flashing through the house. You want to take over while I get the next? Next draw is not until 9:30. Charlotte, trying to draw around their guards into the house, winds up picking off the top guard and adding another guard on the right side. This is Nada or Nadia? Can't quite read my own writing. Definitely Nada Leslie.
That's what the program says.
Well, and I copied the program, so we should be right.
And the program presumably is directly from the team entry form. So if the program's wrong, then she typed her name wrong when she signed up.
Or maybe whoever
her
registered.
team contact would have signed her up wrong.
Ah, the advantages and disadvantages of online registration. If you get it wrong once, it's wrong everywhere. So we are down to Skips Rocks here on Chi Day with Nutmeg playing Charlotte. Nutmeg has the red rocks and Charlotte has the yellow rocks. As we go to our overhead cam, you can see that Nutmeg is sitting 1 and 2, with Charlotte having third shot and Nutmeg having fourth shot. The skip for Charlotte is coming down the ice. He's getting ready. It's Omar.
Sweeper's running hard, and then they're off it, I think, because he's already lost his window, and it would look that way when he crashes the guard. without the Skip's microphones on this sheet, it's hard to say what exactly he was calling. I'm going to guess it was probably a hit and roll on that red rock, and he was just maybe a little inside or maybe just didn't give enough ice for it.
Indeed. We do have some ambient mics in our ice shed, so we're picking up a little bit, rocks rolling along and some of the shouting that goes on, but we definitely can't pick up the Skips and Vices discussion, which definitely adds something to our game. I know I've used definitely here, but it definitely does add something.
Definitely.
This is Kathy for the team from Nutmeg. Sweepers are trying to drag it as far as they can. Hopefully make it a guard in front of their own rock.
They do, in fact, appear to be over the hog line.
They are indeed over the hog line.
Not
Congratulations.
by much, but by enough.
Congratulations, Sweepers. Sometimes that's all you can do. Unfortunately, from our side angle, we can't really tell if it's guarding the shot rock. I think it is. But it's also a really high guard.
It is high, but the guards to the side, the yellow rocks to the side, might be just enough to not let you squeeze around it, too.
That's true. If it is sitting right in front of the shot rock, then that guard, plus the two yellow guards on side it, like you said, Mike, would prevent anything but an upweight shot from taking it out.
While we let this shot develop, we have a seventh end update from Sheet C. Nick Smith's team, Potomac 1, stole another point from Potomac 3, Scott Eady, to make the score Potomac 3, Scott Eady 6, Potomac 1, Nick Smith 4. So it's a 2-point game.
Wow.
But Scott Eady does have a 2-point lead and the hammer coming home.
Indeed.
So, I mean, he's not going to be able to just walk away with it, but he's not going to have to really, hopefully, bail himself out too hard here.
Indeed.
You never know. I mean, we've seen two get stolen before, so
absolutely. And Nick Smith has scored points in the last 3 ends, so he's on a little bit of a roll. I mean, it's only ever been one when he's stealing, but hey, stranger things have happened. Omar throwing the last rock for Charlotte here. They bump their own rock and do not manage to put it into the house. So Nutmeg is just going to go around the outside, I think. Well, Skip's thinking about it, but Nutmeg is sitting, we believe, 1 and 2. So they should be able to take at least a 2-point lead heading into the 8th end. Unless something strange happens, which in curling, that's been known to happen.
Yeah, there's around the outside, and I think there's also possibly maybe the promote there. The guard is just almost on the ring, so it doesn't take much to promote that to be a third counter.
And if she does overcurl, most likely she won't promote the yellow into the house. So she'll just rub off and make it shoot the guard over to the side instead of promoting it into the house. But let's watch.
Do get a little wonky once you get over there by the warm wall of our club.
And that
it looks
rock,
like that's just going to go out and not come back.
Yep, it's sticking around there.
I don't think it's going to... It's not even going to get to the rings.
It's really close.
It had the weight, but because it was falling away from the center line, it fell out of the house there.
Yep.
From our angle, it does look like 2 red. Again, we'll wait for the official posting of the score.
So we believe that the score is now 7-5. as we all wait, breathless anticipation. I think it's a treat for all of our Potomac folks. We're going to swing back over to Sheet C. Well, not back over. We're going to swing to Sheet C because we have a Potomac game going on with 2 points dividing the teams. Scott Eady is leading Nick Smith by 2 points. Scott Eady has the hammer here in the 8th end. And Eady clears a guard.
And we do finally have the confirmation that score in the 7th end on Sheet A was 2 red. So it is Nutmeg 7, Charlotte 5 after 7 ends. Nick Smith needing to come up with a way to steal 2 here. He's sitting 2 at the moment, but on the fringe. Probably not going to be the final result of the end. But Rocks in the House could always end up scoring. Scott there attempting to peel the guard, but there's a flash. So Nick is still sitting 2. This is Vice Brian Sandberg with a draw down into the house. He'd like it to bury under that guard. I don't think he's going to get quite as much coverage as he wants, but he does have pretty good draw weight, sitting in the top 4. Scott is going to call for the hit. Just push that rock right out of there. Sit shot. Nick wants to repeat that exact same process. Nick wants to come down, push the yellow out of the house, flop over, sit under the guard, try to lock that one in there. so that he can try to come up with a way to steal at least 2 to try to take this game. If not, at least just take it into an extra end. Nick's first rock is on the way. It over curls. He's going to crash his guard. His guard's going to run back into the house and then outside. And the shooter is going to roll over. And he's going to mostly cover. Actually, it rolled mostly over, I think. It's hard to tell from this side angle here. Scott Eady is going to attempt to remove one of the remaining red rocks in the house. That would leave red with 1 rock sitting out there biting and 1 rock left to be thrown, so pretty much eliminates the chance of the steal of 2. Scott's got the hit, and he makes the double. That's going to leave red with only 1 rock left to throw, which, if I'm not mistaken, does mathematically remove them from the game, and we see the handshakes abound. So that is going to be your final score. Actually, yellow's going to get those points. Well, actually, both teams still have to throw, so I believe those points don't account officially. Doesn't really matter. Your end result is going to be Potomac 3 wins the game by a score of at least 6 to Potomac 1's 4.
We're going to switch back here over to Sheet A, where our 2 teams are still going at it. They are in the 8th end with Nutmeg with the Red Rocks leading 7, and Charlotte trailing with 5.
But Charlotte is definitely shot and is possibly second. There's a lot of yellow rocks in the 4-foot and only 1 red.
And from this angle, it looks like it's 2 yellow. I don't think it's 3 yellow.
No, I don't think it's 3, but there's a lot of ways to put more yellows in or take the red out.
Yep. And how many rocks do we have left, Mike?
I can't say for certain, but looks like I could see 3 yellow rocks in the garage there, and this one being thrown. So I believe this is the Vice's first rock for the yellow team. So this will be their 5th rock overall.
Sounds right. It looks like our cameras confirmed that. Excellent guessing there, Mike. So Charlotte does have the hammer here.
And with those guards being split out on the previous rock, I would say that Charlotte is definitely in the driver's seat of this end. Not just because they have the hammer, but because they have a vast majority of the rocks in the house as well.
Something to keep in mind, though, is that if Charlotte gets 2, then we go into bonus curling.
I do enjoy a good bonus curl.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Charlotte puts a 4th rock actually, in the 4-foot and is now sitting 3.
A 3rd rock fully in the 4-foot.
However, their rocks are exposed.
Every rock is exposed. Those guards are not really covering much of anything at all. They are 2 good corner guards, but all the rocks are in the center in this end. This red rock is not of a particularly strong weight.
It looks a little wide.
It's going to remove at least 1 yellow. It's going to remove that yellow from the butt and sit shot, but also still be exposed.
I think the problem here is that they've now. Do you think there's a hit and double there? Can Charlotte come down, hit the red rock on the inside, on the right side as we're looking at it now, and roll over and hit the other red rock as well?
I don't think that's there to remove the second red rock, but I bet it's there to roll across and make contact, to sit third shot or first shot, but be the third rock into the shot counting. Out count the red rock and roll the shooter under the other two.
Even if they just get the hit and roll under cover, that would be a very nice position to be in for Charlotte. Sitting 2 with shots to make it 4. Very nice. This is Dave for the team from Charlotte. Gets the hit. Oh, gets the hit and roll.
Gets the hit, makes
and hit.
contact with the second red rock to now sit 4 rocks in the 4-foot, and the red rock has been moved out of the 4-foot circle. So,
and you know, with those 2 red rocks in the front being angled the way they are, it really gives a lot of protection to the rest of the yellow rocks. I think Nutmeg's going to have a tough time getting them all out.
Nutmeg is definitely going to have a tough time getting them all out. I'm not sure if it's much because of the way where the guard is sitting. If for no other reason, it's because there's just so many.
Yep.
If you throw with some weight at the top of that stack, you could probably peel off the top 2, but you just leave the 2 behind it, and 2 is enough, really, at this point. With yellow to still have the hammer, you could peel out 2 of those 4. Yellow could just throw another one in.
Yep. We do want to update our audience that we will be switching to sheet B, which has already started its 9:30 draw after the conclusion of this game. That will be Team New Pond, skipped by Rich Ashford, against Team Columbus, skipped by John Besh. So Nutmeg did move the rocks around just a little bit. But again, because there are just so many yellow rocks in the 4-foot, they didn't move any out.
They didn't move any out, and they didn't out count anything with that rock either. It's still going to be 4 yellow by my estimate.
Yep. And as we see the skip given a broom, I think they're going to go with a guard. What do you think, Mike? Guard?
I can't think of much else they would want or need to do in this scenario. Drawing a 5th one into the button is just going to be exposed, most likely. They're only down 2. They're sitting 4. There's really not need to risk any of those rocks they're already counting.
You certainly don't need to run up the score on the 8th end when you're behind. So the end result of this shot is a guard right on the center line for Charlotte. Definitely cutting down Team Nutmeg's options. There's still a hole for a takeout. The distance between the yellow guard and the red guard is larger than it seems. As we take a look at our scoreboard here, you can see this game has really been back and forth. Nutmeg swapping points with Charlotte for almost the entire game. The skip from Charlotte definitely taking her time to decide what the best shot is. Oh, pardon me, that's a skip from Nutmeg taking her time to see what the best shot is. She's got a lot of rocks to work with. A lot of different perfect shots she can try and throw. But of course you also need to plan for the plan Bs and the plan Cs and the plan Ds, making sure that you and your vice are on the same page. All right, the broom is down. So it looks like Nutmeg is trying to go again for a hit and curl to the right and try and hit the yellow rock in the middle of all that mess. We'll see if it curls far enough to get around the guard. The rock is away. Oh, it comes off the top guard, pushing a yellow rock into the house and moving stuff around. Let's take a look at the overhead cam. It is still 4 for Charlotte right now.
And that's it then, because Charlotte has the next and final rock.
Oh, indeed, that was the last rock for Nutmeg. So we have a final score here, with scoring 4 in the 8th end. Charlotte wins the game 9-7. Congratulations to Charlotte on a wonderful comeback. We will be going offline quick, give our system a break and our commentators a break and our operators a break. We will be back in 5 minutes covering our 9:30 draw on Sheet B, New Pond against Columbus. Once again, I'm Michael Dobbs.
And I'm Mike Self.
And you've been watching curling, hosted at the Potomac Curling Club at the National Capital Curling Center in Laurel, Maryland, hosting the 11th annual Cherry Blossom Bonspiel. See you on the flip side.